Tip number 1, always carry a rubber. Not that kind of rubber. Like this little guy here. Just get yourself a piece of rubber. Why? You're out in the field, you busted a prop and you can't get that nut off. Don't you hate that? Anyway, get yourself a piece of rubber and you'll get the grip that you need to sort that out. So I've just wrapped that around the motor there. There we go. Get your little tool to remove that off. Handy little tool. And that's it. That makes life so much easier. Got whoop? Then there's a good chance you've got a whole stack of puffy batteries like me and some burnt out flight controllers. There's a bit of a misconception that if you simply snip the wires and throw it in some salt water, that does the trick in terms of discharging, but what it actually does is it corrodes the pads on the individual cells before it gets a chance to actually discharge. So get one of those old flight controllers and wire up an LED. Then all you need to do is plug in your battery so it lights up. Then just throw it in the tin overnight, put it somewhere safe. Alternatively, throw it in a Ziploc bag with some sand, and the next day you simply snip it, strip it, twist it together and throw it out. Tip 3, rubber bands. Whenever you charge your batteries, put a rubber band around it. That way you know this one's charged. Give it a rip. It's dead. Done. Tip number 4 is all about the containers. So I picked up this little guy from a hardware store, Bunnings here in Australia. I like to put a green sticker and a red sticker on both sides. That way you know, these are my good batteries, these are my flat batteries. And for whoops, you've got enough room in there for your props, prop remover, some spare motors. As you get more flat than good batteries, you can just move these across if you need to. And if you really want, they fit perfectly into a LiPo bag. And you can even get some bigger ones which fit, whoops, absolutely perfectly. Again, I bought these from Bunnings. You can find this at any hardware store. There you go. There you go. Perfect. Not much movement. Ooh. If you wear glasses like me, you've probably got a few of these lying around, which are great. They're particularly great for carrying spare antennas. So you can even see I've got a patch antenna in there that fits nicely. Or lens cloth for your goggles. Spray for your goggles, optical spray, and anti-fog. Bonus tip. If you rock a pair of goggles that do not have a fan at the top, like the Skyscanner V2s, which I love, then anti-fog is your friend. You can find this pretty easily. Just Google it online, anti-fog, you'll find it in the spray. And I'll tell you what, this is the reason I haven't upgraded my goggles yet, because the only compelling reason to change is that they fog up every now and then. I spray some of this stuff on my lenses and I get about 2 weeks out of it where I won't need to spray it again, and that's pretty cool because I clean my lenses probably at least once a week anyway. IKEA sell a set of 17 containers that are so practical, and it's like $6 or $7 Aussie, so under 10 bucks no matter where you are in the world. It looks like this. You get 17. They come in green or orange. The small containers are very practical, great for props, SD cards, batteries, all sorts of stuff. Next size up is perfect for brushless whoops. You can shake this thing around, it won't move. That was the battery cable there, and it fits absolutely perfectly. How cool is that? Then you can hack into them a little bit for different size quads, things that have got some things sticking out. And seriously, IKEA rocks. Try the meatballs. Here's a tip. The TS100 soldering iron. Now this next tip is around things that are handy to buy, and of all the things in FPV, this is probably the one that has the least debate. Most people will hands down say this is the best soldering iron you can get. Best in the field. Plug in a LiPo and you're good to go. You can change tips. It comes with a whole stack of accessories, different cases, different things that you can buy for it. But it also does the job as a bench soldering iron, and it will give most bench soldering irons a run for their money as well. TS100 a must have. A magnetizer / demagnetizer. This thing's great. I'm very fiddly when it comes to mucking around with whoops and small screws and so forth here, so it's always handy to magnetize your screwdriver. Boom chicka wawa. Very handy. And if for whatever reason you want to demagnetize your screwdriver, wawa chicka boom. Very handy. Now this one might not really seem much of a hack, but on the topic of buying things, I'm including these all together so you don't feel ripped off. This little handy ratchet screwdriver. It is so practical. It comes in a pack like this. I bought it from Bunnings, where else, and it has every bit that you need from whoops to 5 inches, and it actually does a really good job on your 5 inches to get a good grip, and it takes up bugger all room in your bag, so you can put this in a glasses case or a small case, and very practical. I have one for the bench and one for the bag. Fun fact about Bunnings and drones. So in 2016, the bloke decides to tie a note with a plastic bag to a DJI Phantom, flies it all the way to Bunnings, gets someone to put a snag in there, and then flies it back so he can eat it in his spa. Now, he was threatened to be fined $9,000 by CASA, which I think is the FAA equivalent. And I don't know whatever happened with that, but I have put a link to his video. Refreshing. Tip number 6. Always carry a water bottle and some rope. Get your bottle of water, tie some rope around it, give it a good swing, fling it over that branch, give it a nice tug, and that's it. Good chance your quad's coming down. Now I reckon I might have just saved you a quad there, so that's got to be worth a like and subscribe, yeah? These are a couple of voltmeters I made a couple of years back, which I don't really use that often because voltmeters are very easy to find now and you can get some really cool whoop ones. I make these out of just old tins. That's an old tin of Chewies, and that's an old tin I had lying around where I pop that open and you can see I can check my multi-cell batteries and so forth. You can put all sorts of adapters in there in the one spot, so I actually have some goggle adapters there as well so I can test goggle batteries, etc. But more importantly, where a DIY voltmeter comes in handy is that you can add a switch on it. So if you've got one of those drones, and they're not that common because we can now bind through a CLI command in Betaflight, but if you have a drone that requires you to hold that bind button down while fiddling around and trying to get the battery connected at the same time, rig something up with a switch. And that way you just hold your bind button, switch it on, much easier. So his final tip is on whoop gates. Now whoop gates can be a bit expensive, but I have something for you. Google agility rings. Go to eBay, check out agility rings. You'll get some things like this. How cool are these? I mean, these are the ultimate whoop gates and they are cheap as chips. So I bought this thing here from Kmart. This was 6 agility rings for about 12 bucks I think I paid, but you can find them everywhere. They're all different shapes and sizes. The other one is also I think dog training rings and so forth. They've got some funky things there. Now what's great about these is that they come with these clickety bits here, so you can actually make whatever shape or size you want. Just attach that, you can come up with anything you like. And if you want to run some cheap lighting, get yourself some EL wire. It's nowhere near as good as LEDs, but it's very practical and very cheap. So something like this is $3 or $4, and you've got 3 settings. Up here I'm showing what they look like. You really need a bit of low light to get these going, but they're so practical because they run on AA batteries there, so they're easy. They've got a little clip, so you can clip them onto your actual whoop gate somehow, and I think they do the trick. I recommend green and orange in particular because they seem to be the brightest. White's good as well, red's not that great. How have I stuck mine on? All I've done is run double-sided tape on the inside and really pushed it down and then put some glue on the corner bits there. And that's it. Make sure you've got enough length for both sides. I think from memory I used 3 meters on this one here, so it's probably a little bit more than what you think, so measure up your agility rings before you buy, if you buy EL wire. Well, that's it. They're my tips and hacks for today. Thanks for watching. If you think I might have saved you some money on some whoop gates or maybe a quad from a tree or anything like that, please like, please subscribe, and we'll call it even. See ya.